Welcome to A Guide to Every Deck in Pioneer. Today we're looking at Rona Combo. This is a combo deck built around Rona, Herald of Invasion, and is somewhat of an evolution of the older Kinnon combo decks. There are multiple ways to build the deck, so don't think that the sample version on screen is the only one, and I'll be covering the different versions. Rona is a 2-mana blue 1/3 legendary creature that can tap to draw and discard a card, and, importantly, untaps whenever you cast a legendary spell. The fact that she loots through cards also means that she's able to dig for her own combo by herself. You can also pay 5 mana to transform her into a legitimate threat, which is sometimes relevant, but that's not what you're primarily playing her for. Anyways, the combo works like this. You need a Rona in play that you can activate, so not summoning sick, along with Mox Amber and Retraction Helix. Cast Retraction Helix targeting Rona, giving her the ability to tap to bounce things. Tap Mox Amber for mana, then bounce it to your hand with Rona. Recast Amber, untapping Rona, and repeat for infinite blue mana. From there, you need something to act as your outlet to win the game, which is where different variations of the deck come in. The main outlets so far are Fae of Wishes, Karn, Kinnon, Tyvar, Micromancer, Fibblethip, the Reality Chip, and/or Jace Vryn's Prodigy, and all of these cards play important roles in the deck besides just being combo pieces. Let's go through each of them. Fae of Wishes can grab either Mox Amber or Retraction Helix, meaning you can put the 4th copy of each in the sideboard for more redundancy in the combo. Once you have infinite mana, you can wish for one of various permanents that win the game. In this case, some choice options are Jace, Wielder of Mysteries, or Ugin the Spirit Dragon. Both have a game-winning plus ability, either milling or bolting, and can be cast, untapping Rona, then picked up again and recast to activate them infinitely. Alternatively, you can run Karn instead, an old standby for grabbing all sorts of valuable artifacts from the sideboard depending on the situation, being a Swiss Army knife. In this case, Karn can retrieve Aetherflux Reservoir, then simply pick up Mox Amber and recast it again, triggering Reservoir to gain infinite life and then deal infinite damage to the opponent. And similar to Fae of Wishes, you can put the 4th copy of Mox Amber in the sideboard to retrieve with Karn. Kinnon doubles the production of non-land mana sources, which is great with Mox Amber and Mana Elves, but also acts as an infinite mana outlet itself. With Kinnon and the combo, you can tap Amber for green as well and activate Kinnon infinitely, eventually finding Fae of Wishes, bounce it to your hand, and cast the adventure mode. If you don't have 2 cards to discard for Fae, you can spin Kinnon until you hit Fibblethip and draw 2 cards. Alternatively, if you play the Reality Chip, you can spin Kinnon until you hit it, equip it to something, then cast spells off the top until you find Fae of Wishes, Karn, or another outlet. If you brick because the top card is a land, just spin Kinnon again to change it. Tyvar is great in the deck for a number of reasons. It untaps Mana Elves and Rona for an additional loot, lets you activate creature abilities immediately, including Rona, and can reanimate creatures that have been destroyed, which is specifically important for bringing Rona back. Tyvar also wins the game once you assemble the combo. With Tyvar in play, Mox Amber can tap for green and black. This lets you mill with Tyvar, bounce it back to your hand with the Helixed up Rona, then recast Tyvar and mill again, eventually finding Fae of Wishes, Kinnon, or Reality Chip. Micromancer can tutor the combo out of your deck provided you already have Rona and at least one of the other pieces. If you already have Retraction Helix, Micromancer can tutor for Seeming Symmetry. You cast Symmetry and put Mox Amber on top, don't worry about what your opponent gets since you're going to win before they take their turn anyway. Then simply loot with Rona to draw the Amber. If you already have Amber, Micromancer can just tutor Retraction Helix and there you go. Once all the pieces are assembled, if you don't have access to an infinite outlet like Kinnon, Fae of Wishes, or Karn, you can use Rona to bounce Micromancer and go fetch Epiphany at the Drownyard. Cast Epiphany for your whole deck and put 1 game-winning outlet in each pile so it doesn't matter which one your opponent gives you. With Fibblethip, you can simply bounce and recast it, drawing until you find another outlet since Fibblethip's shuffle ability only applies to spells that target it. If you run Jace Vryn's Prodigy, yet another combo line is enabled. For this one, you'll need the main combo plus Tyvar. Mill your deck with Tyvar until you find and reanimate Jace. Since Tyvar gives it haste, you can activate and flip Jace immediately. Continue milling with Tyvar until you find Cankerbloom. Sacrifice Cankerbloom and proliferate the now Planeswalker Jace. Continue bouncing and recasting Tyvar to reanimate Cankerbloom and proliferate Jace until you can activate the ultimate, then trigger it by recasting spells and mill your opponent out. The rest of the deck's cards that aren't strictly necessary for the combo are used to enable it. Mana Elves help accelerate you towards setting it up faster. One problem with the deck is that you'll often have all the pieces but be 1 or 2 mana short of doing everything in the same turn, a situation with extra mana helps alleviate. Oath of Nissa digs for Rona and other important cards like Tyvar and Kinnon, and untaps Rona since it's legendary, although it unfortunately doesn't find Amber or Helix. You can play Court of Calling or other creature tutors to get Rona, or other creatures like Kinnon, Fae of Wishes, or Micromancer when you have the combo but no outlet. Alternatively, the deck may include various digging cards like Impulse, Treasure Cruise, Ledger Shredder, or Jace Vryn's Prodigy. There are yet other versions of the deck that, rather than go all in on combo support, substitute a lot of the cards for more interaction like Thoughtseize and whatnot. The main issues with the deck are that its combo is inconsistent, needing to assemble 4 different cards, and it's fragile since the main centerpieces of Rona and Mox Amber are vulnerable to any instant speed removal for creatures or artifacts. Regardless of which version you build, you'll need a lot of practice with the deck to understand what hands to keep, the exact sequences needed to win, mathing out how much mana you have and how much you need, and so on. Tips and tricks. If you have Rona, Retraction Helix, and Oath of Nissa but not Amber, you can use Rona to bounce Oath and recast it, triggering Oath for as many times as you have green mana. Remember that there are tons of interdependent synergies and combo lines, especially between Rona, Mox Amber, and the various legendary permanents in the deck. All legendary permanents untap Rona when cast, which is relevant to loot additional times, and all legendary creatures and planeswalkers let Mox Amber tap for mana. Regarding Fibblethip, Kinnon, Court of Calling, and the Reality Chip all let you draw 2 cards with it. It's important to keep in mind that Fae of Wishes requires 2 discards to bounce itself, and that Rona's loot ability is irrelevant if you're empty-handed. You may want to hold that extra land rather than play it. Creatures discarded to looting effects can be reanimated by Tyvar. If you have the combo assembled, but your opponent has a stacks piece preventing you from executing it, such as Thalia, you can often just bounce it via Retraction Helix anyway. You can bounce and recast Mox Amber with Otawara to get another Rona untap. If you have Kinnon, this is mana neutral, and mana positive if you have a 3rd legendary creature. With Tyvar and Kinnon out, Mana Elves can tap immediately for 2 and therefore become mana positive. If you run Jace, the minus on his flip side can be relevant for rebuying spells like Retraction Helix. I hope you've enjoyed this look at Rona combo. Thank you to my supporters, and if you enjoy these videos, consider supporting the channel, and take care.